4-minute break. Then we do another 24 minutes, type more questions, and I'll answer them again at the 24-minute break as well. So 24 minutes of me, as long as it takes for you guys, and then back to me for 24 minutes, as long as it takes for you guys. So that's how the game is played. So Garrett's checking, make sure everything's ready. We got to make sure the cameras are tuned in and everything, and then we are just about ready to start. So we ready, gentlemen? Here we go. Hey, folks, Dr. Joe Esposito here. I am glad you're with me today. We're going to talk today about something that I am seeing crazy on the rise, and that's depression. I am seeing so many patients coming in with depression, and many times you think of depression as, I'm blue, I just don't want to get out of the house, I feel like sitting in my bed. There's a lot of signs and symptoms of depression that you're going to be surprised to hear about today, and then more importantly, what do you do about it? That's really the key right there, because every day patients come to my office, and they come in with diagnoses, and they say, I have degenerated hip, I have arthritis in my spine, I have radiating pain, I have digestive issues, I have acid reflux. And I always ask the same question. I've been doing it for almost 40 years now. And I say, so what were you told to do to fix it? Keyword there, fix it. And the answer inevitably is nothing. I was told that I have to take this medication or I have to take this drug or maybe get this injection. And sometimes that's absolutely necessary. I'm not against that. But no one has yet to break my perfect record of having somebody come in and saying, well, my doctor told me to do this to get to the cause of the problem. Never. 40 years. Thousands, tens of thousands of patients. So that's what makes us unique is we always give you the options as to what you can do to try to get to the cause. Does it work every time? No, it doesn't. Is it certainly better than what you're doing right now? In most cases, yes. Now, don't change drugs. Don't change treatments. Add what I'm teaching you to your protocol. My goal is not take you off the meds. My goal is get you well enough so you don't need the meds. See the difference? And every single day, countless patients come in and say, Doc, I'm off my high blood pressure medication, I'm off my depression medication, I'm off my cholesterol medications. Thank you. I wish somebody had taught me this sooner. So that's what we're going to talk about today. So symptoms of depression can include feelings of hopelessness, anger, irritability, tiredness, difficulty concentrating. Now, you can diagnose depression if a person experiences a number of symptoms for a number of weeks. The key here is this. There is no single test to diagnose depression. I can take my blood pressure. I have high blood pressure, single test, done. I can take my blood. I'm low in iron. I'm anemic. Test is done. We don't have a specific test for depression. It's more of a syndrome. Syndrome means you have a series of symptoms put together leads us down to this syndrome. And that's what we're dealing with. So depression is a medical condition. It affects nearly 280 million people globally. And it's called clinical depression or major depressive disorder. Has its own fancy word. Again, diagnosing is great. What do I do about it is more important. So symptoms of depression really vary from person to person. And it's shocking when I get in with my patients and I start finding out what's going on with them. And I start analyzing them. And again, I'm not a psychotherapist in any way, but I know what symptoms to look for. And I start looking at the symptoms and I say, you seem like you have depression. And many times they're shocked. No, doc, I'm fine. I don't stay in my room all day and cry. That's not it. Sadness, hopelessness, loss of pleasure in activities, inability, tiredness, irritability, appetite changes, thoughts of suicide. Of course, that's the extreme symptom there. But once again, there's no single test for depression. So I want to go through some symptoms today, and you're probably going to be surprised at a lot of them as to what could be leading to depression. But more importantly, what do you do about it? So there's several types of depression, and they vary from person to person. One person can experience some of the symptoms from time to time. A doctor only diagnosed depression when a certain cluster of symptoms appears to be persistent for 2 weeks or longer. So there's your diagnosis. You have these lists that I'm going to go through. You've had it for 2 weeks or longer. Now we can do an analysis and a diagnosis. So the obvious one, feeling sad and empty. Mood changes are one of the most common symptoms of depression. A person who's depressed may feel low or exhausted for an extended period of time. They also have this empty feeling. They use that term empty a lot, unable to experience happiness. And that's one of the things I see the most. I've had patients come in, couples, men and women. I've got this amazing partner. They're great to me. We have kids. We're great to my kids. They're a great provider. They take me places. They clean the house. They cook. They give me time with my friends. I think we're going to break up. That doesn't make sense, what you just said. Well, I just don't feel the energy. I don't feel the connection. Okay. I get that. Chemistry is big in a relationship, but maybe it's something more than that. And I ask them, are you willing to investigate that? Some people are, some people aren't. And when you are, many times we start looking at other issues. Is it pain? Is it a history of a problem as a child? Is it a nutritional deficiency? And that's where I come in, is a nutritional deficiency. Many times I see patients that, well, doc, I don't eat and I'm gaining weight. I don't eat. And I hardly ever eat at all. What I had today was a bagel with some cream cheese and 2 cups of coffee and some French fries. Well, you need the proper chemistry in order to make the brain work. Your brain is a series of, we are, a sack of chemicals is all we are. When the chemicals come together, they create things. In the brain, we call them neurotransmitters. And those are the things that make us feel. Make us feel happy, make us feel sad, make us feel tired, make us feel energetic, make us feel pleasure. And if you don't have the right nutrients in order to produce the neurotransmitters, the brain can't work properly. So we go, the traditional route is we give you medication. I'm going to give you an antidepressant because your body might be low in serotonin. So I'm going to give you an antidepressant to utilize the little bit of serotonin that you have. What if we just made more serotonin? Well, how do you do that? Well, you got to get all the raw materials and make the body make them come together and produce serotonin. Serotonin is made from tryptophan. Tryptophan is one of the 20 amino acids in our diet. Tryptophan combines with vitamin B6 in your small intestine and creates something called 5-HTP. 5-HTP becomes serotonin. If you're lacking tryptophan, if you're lacking vitamin B6, you can't produce the serotonin. Serotonin then becomes melatonin, which helps you sleep. And many times people who are depressed have irregular sleep patterns. Now, melatonin, we found out, especially during COVID, it's a wonderful antioxidant as well. It helps keep your body healthy and from viral attacks. And so melatonin, we used to think was just for sleep. It's a lot more than that, it's turning out. And so you're thinking to yourself, well, I'm taking the medication. I feel a little better when I take it. If I don't take it, I go right back to where I was. And it's just, I'm barely getting by. And then I ask my patient, what's your diet look like? Horrible diet. You take any supplements? No. You have any digestive issues? Oh, doc, horrible diarrhea, acid reflux, heartburn, burping, gas, bloating. I have all that. Bad breath. And I say to them, you can't build the chemicals in your brain if you're not taking in the nutrients and or absorbing the nutrients, not just ingesting, but digesting. And inevitably, they say, I've never heard that before, doc. No one has ever put it like that before. They just keep saying, take more of this medication. Never has anyone ever asked me about my diet. Never has anybody asked me about my digestive system. And so this is the missing link, a missing link, in mental health. We have to look at the body as a machine. Do you have all the parts? Is it oiled up properly? Does it have enough fuel to run? Instead of just throwing something at it, trying to make it work one more day. Jimmy rigging it, my father used to call it. I'm going to Jimmy rig this thing so it runs for a day. And many times that's what we're doing in healthcare. We're Jimmy rigging our health just to get by to the next day. Now, I am not against Jimmy rigging your health. But I also, in addition to that, want to get to the cause of the problem. And that's where I come in. We come in. So if you're feeling hopelessness, helplessness, depression can make people feel hopeless. There's no foreseeable end to it. Let's do some positive action steps. And one thing we can do is look at our diet. Are we eating fruits, vegetables, nuts, and seeds? Are we staying away from alcohol, meat, sugar, dairy, coffee, soda, and artificial sweetener? We know alcohol contributes to depression. We know that. There's no question about that. We know artificial sweetener can contribute to depression. We know sugar. We know excessive proteins and hormones from meats and dairy products, excessive saturated fat. All these things can contribute to the situation that you're dealing with. And you're saying, I'm depressed, I want comfort food. I'm going to have chocolate chip ice cream. I'm going to have a hamburger and fries. I'm sad. And so you're making the problem worse innocently. A famous man once said, forgive them, for they know not what they do. This, what I'm teaching you today, should be top priority when it comes to all healthcare, in addition to everything else. but very few doctors are trained in nutrition. In fact, I was talking to a friend of mine the other day, a neurosurgeon, and he said, Joe, we get zero nutrition in school. And one of his younger doctors that works in the office, he said, hold on, doc. He says, we get an hour now. One class. I have 40 years of studying biochemistry and nutrition, and I'm learning new stuff every day. And so I'm not saying what the doctors are doing wrong. What they're doing is what they're trained to do. I'm doing what I'm trained to do. So we want to get to the cause of the problem. So you got to give your body the right nutrients. So the minimum supplements I recommend pretty much across the board are Dr. Joe's Super Greens and Dr. Joe's Essential Source. They're 2 powders. They taste great. I take a scoop of each. I mix them together. I had a patient in the other day, and she said, do I have to take it every day? I said, how healthy do you want to be? And she said, I want to get out of pain. I want to bring down my inflammation. I said, take it every day. I take it every day, sometimes twice a day. But minimum will be Super Greens and Essential Source. And they're 2 powders, prebiotics, probiotics, digestive enzymes, complete multivitamin, chlorella and spirulina. Chlorella detoxifies the liver because many times with depression, I find liver issues. We detoxify the liver. We give you omega-3 fatty acids for brain inflammation. Iodine. The iodine helps your thyroid produce thyroid hormones, and every cell in your body responds to thyroid hormones. Oh, wow. Nobody ever talked to me like that before. Yeah. Vitamin D, vital for depression. So many people are vitamin D deficient. Now, I saw a study that said 50% of people around the world are vitamin D deficient. That's the minimum amount of vitamin D. That's about 20 or 30 nanograms per milliliter in your blood. I want you to be 60 to 80 nanograms per milliliter in your blood. I want to double what the recommended level is, because that's when we see medicinal benefits, including helping with anxiety. Now, is it going to help everybody? No. Is it the cure-all? No. But if you're not doing this, you should be. And by the way, the supplements are on my website, drjoe.com, drjoe.com. Do you have acid reflux, heartburn, burping, gas, bloating? Your stomach's main job is to digest proteins. Protein looks like a ball of yarn. Unravel it and chop it up into something called amino acids. Now, the amino acid tryptophan, as we said, combines with vitamin B6, creates 5-HTP. 5-HTP becomes serotonin, and serotonin helps us focus and makes us happy. Many times we can pull somebody out of depression by increasing their serotonin levels. And so we need to give the body the raw materials. That's key. So if you have heartburn or acid reflux, your stomach may be pushed up against your diaphragm, and you're not breaking down your proteins properly. So the ironic thing that we do for that is we give people medications to lower their stomach acid so they don't have as much acid reflux. Well, the challenge with that is that you need stomach acid to digest proteins to break down into amino acids to produce neurotransmitters, specifically in this case, serotonin. So what we do with our patients is we can actually adjust the stomach. We can take the stomach and pull it down away from the diaphragm. And when we do, in many cases, you start breaking down your proteins. The gas, the bloating, the bad breath goes away. It's incredible. In fact, I have this condition. And now, when I was a kid, we didn't have a definition. We didn't have a title called ADD at the time. You were a wise guy. You were a class clown. And I remember in school, in high school, I was a big 210-pound football player. And my principal was the original Marlboro man, Mr. Werns, big, strapping, handsome fella. And I remember one day Mr. Werns taking this 210-pound football player body of mine and throwing me up against the wall. You could do that back then. And he said, I'd kick you out of this school if it wasn't for your grades. Curses in there. Because I was like third smartest kid in school. And he couldn't kick me out of school, but I was a big troublemaker. And I said, guess you can't kick me out then, can you, Mr. Werns? And he just, he growled. But I didn't realize at the time that I had ADD. I'm sure it was. I mean, I couldn't diagnose the past, but I'm sure I had ADD and nobody ever talked about it. What was it? Digestive problem. I wasn't breaking down my proteins properly. And once I got my stomach fixed, I had 5 board certifications by the time I was 30. So the brain was capable of working. It just couldn't work because it didn't have the right neurotransmitters. I had the grades. I just couldn't control my craziness. Once it was able to calm down, it was easy. So people with ADD, ADHD, anxiety, depression, every case I've ever seen in my almost 40 years of practice, they had a digestive problem that was never discussed. Now, is that the cause of everything? I don't know. But I do know when we fix the digestive system, they usually see some great results. So by taking the stomach and pulling it down away from the diaphragm, giving your body the nutrients that it needs, the super greens, the essential source, digestive enzymes. Now that I'm older, I didn't need them back then, but as I'm older, I take a digestive enzyme whenever I eat a cooked meal because I don't have the digestive capabilities I used to. Nobody does. And so I take the digestive enzyme. If I eat a raw meal like salad, fine, I don't take a digestive enzyme. If I eat a cooked meal like soup or something along those lines, I'll take a digestive enzyme. Helps break my proteins down. It helps me absorb my fats, carbohydrates, and proteins, other macronutrients, and my brain works better. And so it's amazing when you fix the brain how much less anger you have, how much calmer you are, how much more rational you are. And a lot of it has to do with the digestive system. So, yeah, Super Green Essential Source, vitamin D, digestive enzymes, those are the starter kit, if you will, for digestion. But many times it's physical. You have to physically pull the stomach away from the diaphragm. So if you have symptoms like that, come see us. In the Atlanta area, we have offices in Marietta, Duluth, Stockbridge, and West Cobb. And we could get you an appointment this week. Now, here's a question. Is that the only thing we treat? Absolutely not. The number one reason we see patients is pain. Neck pain, back pain, shoulder pain, sciatica. And in most cases, we get amazing results. Far better than any other protocol out there. Second, number two reason we see patients is digestive issues like we're talking about. And as a byproduct of that, we have a lot of people coming in with emotional issues. And fixing the gut is amazing when it comes to the brain. So if you'd like to make an appointment to come see us, go to my website, drjoe.com, drjoe.com. We have offices, again, Marietta, Duluth, Stockbridge, and West Cobb. Now, we can do virtual appointments. If you don't live in the Atlanta area, you can't make it to come see us, and people come from all over the world, we can set up a virtual consultation with you. And you can set up an appointment right online. Normally, the first in-person visit is $940. I've reduced that for you, my listeners, to $299. That's an exam, x-rays, consultation, first treatment, going over the x-rays on your follow-up visit, and a complete nutrition evaluation. I don't know any clinic anywhere that's doing all that, and certainly not for $299. The x-rays alone cost more than that. But I want to find out if you're a candidate for treatment. And if you are, we'll talk about further treatment. If not, we'll tell you that too. I don't have a dog in this fight. I want to let you know what the best thing is going to be for you. So drjoe.com, you can book an appointment, and don't wait. Every day, patients come in and say, Dr. Joe, I've been meaning to come see you for 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, 30 years. I said, what took you so long? I don't know. So come see us, drjoe.com, and let's get to the cause of your problems, not just treat the symptoms. But again, don't stop taking your medication if you're on it. Let's work together to work on that. So if you're just tuning in, I'm Dr. Joe Esposito. We're talking today about depression, symptoms, and then more importantly, what to do about it. So other symptoms of depression could be feeling worthless. A patient with depression may feel as though they're worthless and their life has no meaning. They may also believe that they're a burden to others. Don't believe that. People are helping you because they want to help you. Don't fall for that, oh, I don't want to be a burden. Because I've seen people, especially elderly people, I don't want to be a burden to the kids. You know what? They owe you. You changed their diapers. I always joked about my mom and dad when they were alive. I said, you changed my diapers, I owe you. And so I know the thought is there, but again, we want to try to get the brain to think more rationally. If you ever consider suicide, please, you need to call Suicide Hotline. Don't wait. You can text TALK to 741741, and you can talk to a counselor. Or just call 911. If you're ever considering it, nothing is worth that. And I know it's hard to rationalize that when you're in the moment, but don't get to that point. Let's talk to a counselor first, then we can decide what to do from there. But please don't ever follow through with that. If you have thoughts of it, it's time to talk to a counselor. I'm a huge fan of counseling. The Suicide Crisis Hotline is 988, 24 hours a day. Just dial 988 on your phone. That's a Suicide Crisis Hotline, and they would be more than happy to work with you. Okay, so please don't go down that road before you try everything else. How about that? And once you try everything else, I think you'll be very happy that you did. Everyone always is. If you start feeling guilty, that can be a sign of anxiety and depression. It's a normal reaction to what a person says or does something that they might regret, but people with depression might have ongoing feelings for no reason. We've all done stupid things. We've all regretted them. We've all realized that I can't even think of any right now because they go away. The body has a great way of forgetting bad things that happened. I remember my mom saying about childbirth. She goes, if a woman ever remembered the pain of childbirth, society would have gone away a long time ago. She said, you forget the pain. And so the good thing about the brain is it can reboot itself and it can forget a lot of those issues. The big one I see is no interest in pleasure or activities. Now, some people with depression lose interest in activities that they used to enjoy, sports, hobbies, going out with friends, music, sex. I don't really appreciate this anymore. That could be a sign of depression. They may even turn down offers to do things. I remember as a kid being taught, always go to the party. Because if you say no, you might not get invited again. And I've lived my life by that. There were times I didn't want to go out to events, wanted to go out to, business socials. But you know what? When you show up, showing up is everything. My friend Steve always says that at events. Showing up is everything. Because you never know what's going to happen. And many times good things happen by going out. Years ago, I was dating a gal, and she hadn't dated anybody for several years before me. And she said she remembers talking to her friends, and her friend said, good men are not going to come parading through your living room. You got to go out and meet them. And so she was that first time she went out to party. I met her, actually. So, yeah, getting out and doing things is really important. And if you don't feel like doing it, you have to start asking yourself why. And think, what's your diet look like? Are you taking supplementation? Do you have acid reflux or heartburn, digestive issues? These are all physical signs that can be affecting the brain. Now, from a chiropractic standpoint, if you have pinched nerves in the neck, there's a blood supply in the neck called the basovertebral artery. And it runs up between the bones in the back of the neck, actually the holes in the bones, and it runs up. You have the carotid arteries in the front, basovertebral in the back. So if you're not getting the proper blood supply up into the brain, that can cause problems as well. And I've seen many people slip into depression after a car accident. The neck snapped around, they pinched the nerves and blood vessels in their neck, they went into depression. They thought it was just from the stress of the accident, the pain, but then years have gone by and they still have the problem. And when I do an evaluation on them, I find that the blood vessels in the neck have little kinks in them. So they're getting blood supply to the brain, it just may not be all the blood they need. Maybe they're iron deficient, they're not getting enough oxygen. Maybe they're glucose intolerant. We call that type 3 diabetes in the brain. And they're not processing sugar in the brain. The brain needs glucose to function properly. Short-term can run on ketones, but you need long-term to run on glucose. And so there's a lot of things that we need to look at physically when it comes to a patient with depression. And it breaks my heart when I see patients suffering for years and no one has ever said, have you ever checked the physical? Have you ever checked the digestion, the pinched nerves, the diet? Never. And it hurts me when I see that because so many of you out there are suffering needlessly, whether it's depression, neck pain, back pain, shoulder pain, sciatica, gas, bloating, diarrhea. So we think, well, my neck pain is one thing. Well, the neck pain can be affecting the brain can be affecting the mood. Well, I got a little acid reflux. I just take those little pills and it covers up my acid reflux. Yeah, but it doesn't fix anything. So many times I see two things that happens. Number one is people are what we call taint nothing patients. Taint nothing means, taint nothing, don't worry about it. No, do worry about it. The other ones I see are people that say, well, I've had it for so long now and I don't know where to turn. And I see that all the time. Patients say to me, why didn't somebody tell me about your clinic 20 years ago, 30 years ago? I said, I've been here 40 years. Why didn't somebody tell me about that? I don't know. So that's why we do these shows, because we want to get the word out that there are options. So if you have any health questions, send them to me through my website, drjoe.com, drjoe.com, and we'll get that set up for you as quickly as possible. I'll answer your questions, and then if we need to make an appointment, we can. Many times I just have to answer a question. Done. We're over. So drjoe.com, great source of information. Follow me on social media at Dr. Joe Esposito, and we post every single day. We post health tips every single day, absolutely free. If you have any, if you're a podcast junkie, go to your podcast and go Dr. Joe for the health of it. Dr. Joe for the health of it. Folks, I'm Dr. Joe Esposito. Don't go anywhere. We're going to be right back. Okay. Questions? Got quiet over there.
First, we have a good shout out for the Essential Source and Super Greens from a viewer. Excellent.
I'm glad you like them. Quick story about them, if you want it, if you're asking. If not, I'll tell you anyway. My friend Ron and I Ron was out in California, brilliant chemist, interesting fellow, very eclectic. But I would fly out to Los Angeles several times, and we'd sit in a cafe called Follow Your Heart. And we'd sit there and we formulated the Super Greens, the essential source. And my direction to Ron was, I want to create the best supplement ever. And we worked on it and took years to formulate. But if you're not taking Super Greens and essential source, folks, it's 2 powders. I don't know why you're not taking them. I mean, that's the essential source. Yeah, you need to be taking them. And if you're not, do it. It's the cheapest insurance policy you'll ever buy. And I went to two events this weekend, and like probably 10 people came up to me and said, "Oh my God, the super powders, they don't even have names right. You know, the green essentials or whatever, those things are amazing. Thank you. I've never had a supplement better than that." So yeah, keep taking them. All right, what else you got?
I've heard that the moringa tree has excellent anti-aging properties. Is that true?
It's part of it. Yeah, the moringa tree is very good. It's high in antioxidants. I'm taking my nitric oxide right here in case you're wondering. Yeah. Moringa's good. There's a lot of good things out there. So it's not an end-all be-all, but absolutely, I support it 100%. I think when I created the essential source, that became the end-all be-all. So, sort of. What else you got?
Can you give us a quick summary of what B1, B5, and B12 vitamins do?
6. Okay. B1, B5, B6, B12. They all do different things, but generally speaking, they work with the nervous system. They make the nervous system work, but they're what we call coenzymes. When you have a B vitamin, it makes everything else work. So you need your B vitamins, and the problem is that 40% of the people can't utilize the B vitamins unless they're in what's called a methylated form. Methylated means the form that we can use. If it's non-methylated, let's say cyanocobalamin, which is vitamin B12, but it's combined with cyanide as opposed to methylcobalamin, 40% of people can't convert that into a methylcobalamin. Same thing with methylfolate. If you have folate and it's not methylfolate, you may not be able to utilize it. So B vitamins work on the nervous system. They work as a coenzyme to make everything break down and function more efficiently. They give you lots of energy. And so each one does slightly different, but generally speaking, they work as enzymes and on a nervous system. So.
Are there any problems with statin drugs? If so, what are some of them?
Yes and yes. Statin drugs go into the liver, and there's an enzyme in your liver that produces cholesterol. So the statin drug slows down that enzyme so you produce less cholesterol. It's a good idea. You got high cholesterol, take statin drugs, lowers cholesterol. Brilliant. However, a couple of side effects, downsides. The same enzyme that produces cholesterol produces something called coenzyme Q10. You might know it as CoQ10. CoQ10 goes into the mitochondria in the cell and causes the mitochondria to generate electricity, produce energy. So this is why when people take statin drugs, many times they're tired, they're weak, they start losing muscle mass because you're not producing enough CoQ10. So if you're going to take statin drugs, make sure you take a CoQ10 supplement. That being said, why is my cholesterol high? And I ask patients to ask their doctors that, and they say, well, it's your diet, it's your liver, it's genetics. Genetics play about 15% into your health care. I mean, if you have something like Down syndrome or something, that's a lot bigger. But generally speaking, about 15% of your health comes from your genetics. The other 85% is what we call epigenetics. Epigenetics is outside the gene, your lifestyle, the people you're with, your belief system, your diet. Do you have chemicals in the air? The clothes? Are you wearing synthetic clothes that are maybe conducting electricity? So there's a lot of things in the epigenetic world we have to deal with. Usually it's talked about the emotional state of the body. So if you go to my website, drjoe.com, type the word cholesterol in the search bar. And we did a whole show on cholesterol. I strongly advise, if you have high cholesterol, you cut out all your animal proteins, meat, butter, cheese, yogurt, eggs, ice cream. Animal proteins can raise your cholesterol. There was a study done on eggs, and it showed that if you eat eggs, your cholesterol goes up. You stop eating eggs, cholesterol goes down. Well, the egg industry came out and countered that and said, we did a study, and we fed people lots of eggs, and the cholesterol didn't move. You're wrong. Well, I dug into the study a little further and found this out. What they did is with the people that they tested, the egg companies, they front-loaded the people on high cholesterol foods, meats, dairy products. And so their cholesterol was already high. Then they fed them eggs. The cholesterol didn't go much higher because it was already kind of peaked out. You see, it didn't go any higher. It's kind of cheating a little bit, isn't it? So, yeah, if you have high cholesterol, cut out the animal products. Now, if you have high cholesterol and or you're taking statin drugs, I also recommend Dr. Joe's glutathione because glutathione is very important to help the liver detoxify. So it may not be that you have too much cholesterol, maybe not that you're not recycling the cholesterol back in your liver, and so the levels go up. So listen to the show on cholesterol to break it down very well. I can't tell you to stop taking drugs. I can tell you what to do, so maybe you don't need them. So, Garrett, you have questions?
As we get back into depression,
Yes.
I just had a point. I had a psychologist when I was young that broke down the 3 key points to depression all come from, and it was a famous psychologist from decades ago that did this, but he said that all children go through 3 affirmations or negative affirmations.
Okay.
No one loves me.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not enough.
Uh-huh.
And I'm all alone as a burden. And if you don't address those as a child, then as you get older, you're allowing, like, say, a 5 or a 6-year-old who had that experience to dictate kind of how you interact with the world today as an adult.
I agree with that 100%. I think that's brilliant. Yes. Because we all feel that way. When you're a kid, you all think that way. Oh, nobody's experienced. I'm the first person in the world to ever experience this. My parents yelled at me, so they don't like me. No, it has nothing to do with that. Your parents love you. That's why they're taking care of you. And so Garrett made a very good point. You need to address those issues. Yeah. What else?
That's it.
Oh, John?
Just one more came in.
Sure.
How do I know if the high cholesterol in my blood has turned into plaque?
Well, you can do a test. You can do a scan because there's hard plaque and there's soft plaque. So what you want to do with your cholesterol, you want to test your homocysteine levels. Cholesterol is floating around in the blood, and you need that. It produces sex hormones. It helps your cells work. But homocysteine is it's kind of like a rake. It scratches your artery walls, and then the body lays down cholesterol to fill in the scratches, kind of like a scab. So you want to check your homocysteine levels. You can also check your A1C levels. That tells you how much, if there's inflammation in the body. And also that's going to tell you about sugar, because sugar can also scratch up the arteries as well. But homocysteine really is going to be the most predictive to see if that cholesterol has become an issue or not. You can do a scan, but the scan is only going to find hard cholesterol. It's not going to find the soft cholesterol. So there you go. Check your homocysteine. All right. Anything else?
That's all.
All right. Ready for part 2? Hey, folks, Dr. Joe Esposito. If you just joined us, welcome. If you stayed with us, thank you. I appreciate that. What we're talking about today are signs and symptoms of depression, surprising signs and symptoms of depression, but most importantly, what do you do about it? I said earlier that every day patients come in my office and have these amazing diagnoses, and these brilliant diagnosticians have come up with these incredible diagnoses. And I asked the question, I said this earlier if you're just tuning in, I said, what did they say to do to get to the cause of the problem? Well, I can have surgery. Well, I can take this medication. Okay, sometimes that's necessary, absolutely. But what can you do to get to the cause of the problem? I don't know. Nobody told me anything. And so that's why I do as many lectures as I do. I mean, I've been doing this for now 40 years. We've lectured all over the world. We've written 2 books on nutrition, radio, television, live lectures, and I never get tired of it. I was at an event the other day with somebody who's been in practice as long as I have, and he said, yeah, it's time to retire. He goes, when are you going to retire? I said, I don't understand what that means. I'm being a jerk, you know. I said, I don't understand what that means. What do you mean retire? I said, I've got too much to do. I can't retire. And what would I do if I was retired? I'd be doing this. So I'm so passionate about this because I have so many answers for you, and I just need you to listen and at least do something. You don't have to do everything I say, but do something. So when it comes to depression, one of the things I see is anger and irritability. And that you get easily annoyed, very easily irritated. Now, the National Institutes of Health stated that among people with depression, males are more likely than females to experience irritability and anger. However, these symptoms can also occur in women. And I've seen this before, the grumpy old man, the grumpy old woman, and many times that's actually a sign of depression. And one of the big things that leads to depression in seniors is loneliness. And loneliness is just as devastating as smoking or obesity. We are gregarious creatures. We like to be around other people. And if we're lonely, that can have a dramatic impact on our health, our mental health as well as our physical health. So I'll probably cover that later, but it's very important that you start to socialize. Force yourself to socialize. Get out. meet people. If you're not somebody who, if you're more of an introvert, just go out and be around people. Go to an event, go to a park, go to a concert. I've done it many times on my own. Just go out, walk around, go to a street fair, and just walk around just to be around people. Just part of your therapy. You don't have to talk to anybody. You don't have to buy anything. Just get out, walk around among people. It really helps us get us out of our funk. So just consider that, please. I remember my mom, toward the end of her life, she said, I wish I had more friends. And every senior patient I've ever spoken to has said the same thing. I wish I had more friends. So everybody's looking for friends, but nobody's getting together. And that's why social meetings are so important. You know, join a group, join a church. Churches are great. Join if you're a vegetarian, join a vegetarian society. You're Italian, join an Italian society. You're going to get together with like-minded people, and it's very helpful. And again, they're not going to ostracize you because they're like you. They're hanging out with you. So children, adolescents are more likely to display depression through irritability, anxiety, and tantrums. And at the break, we were talking about that, and Garrett, my producer, was saying that children have thoughts. They have a thought of, I don't feel loved. Nobody needs me anymore. Oh, here we go. You wrote it down for me. No one loves me. I'm not enough. I'm all alone, and I'm a burden to other people. And he was saying that a psychiatrist taught him this years ago, that all children feel these things. And looking back on it, I'm going to agree with that. I remember feeling those things. Nobody loves me. My parents yelled at me, so nobody loves me. And if you don't work through that, that's something that's going to hang with you forever. And that's something you're going to have to address in every relationship you ever have, not just romantic relationships. What about your family? What about your friends? What about your coworkers? What about your churchgoers? Your siblings? I'm not enough. That's a biggie. I'm not enough. Believe me, you are enough. Everyone is enough. And I'm all alone, and I'm a burden to other people. And I understand that too. You're not alone, and you're not a burden. But as a child, that has to be addressed. And if you haven't addressed it as a child, you need to address it as an adult. Because so many people live their lives blaming other people. They're angry. I just don't have the chemistry with this person. In reality, it's something they have to deal with. And that's why I love a good therapist who's going to challenge you. If you go to therapy and the therapist is all, oh, Joe, you're absolutely right, and I agree with everything you say, get rid of that therapist. A therapist has to push you outside your comfort zone, in my opinion. And a lot of therapists send their patients to us because they realize they have digestive issues. They're not getting the proper nutrition. They don't have enough supplementation to make the brain work. And so all the therapy in the world isn't going to get the best results unless you include proper diet, proper digestion, proper supplementation. It doesn't work as well. And I've had a lot of people over the years under counseling, and they come to me, and all of a sudden they have this major breakthrough. Well, what happened? Well, heck, I got them on some B vitamins to make their brain work better. I got them off the sugar, which was affecting the body's ability. They were insulin sensitive. And so we got the insulin working more effectively in the brain so you could utilize glucose to make the brain work. We got them breaking down proteins into amino acids so the amino acid tryptophan becomes serotonin in the brain, and serotonin makes them happy. Tyrosine becomes dopamine. Dopamine gives you pleasure. One of the symptoms of depression is I'm sad all the time. I don't enjoy life anymore. I don't enjoy dates. I don't enjoy my friends. I don't enjoy my family. I don't enjoy my job. Well, it could be you have a dopamine issue. And what we do is we fix the stomach so you can break proteins into amino acids to produce tyrosine to become dopamine. And there you go. Dopamine becomes norepinephrine, which gives you energy. I'm tired all the time. I'm depressed all the time. It could be coming from your gut. And then you look for other outlets. Well, it's my husband, it's my wife, it's my friend, it's my roommate, it's my kid. It's probably you. And it's amazing when you have to take that on and say, wow, am I responsible for this? Yeah, you might be. But you don't know that. But now today you do. So problem solved. Can't use that excuse anymore. Nobody told me. So nutrition is the key here. You know, feeling lack of energy. Again, we talked about you got to get norepinephrine, and it comes from dopamine. Dopamine comes from tyrosine. Tyrosine comes from amino acids being digested in the stomach. So make sure if you're low in energy, you find out why. Could be a B vitamin deficiency. Many times I've gotten people on B vitamins, Dr. Joe's B complex, and boom, their energy comes back. If you have high blood pressure, you have bad circulation, I get you on Dr. Joe's nitric oxide. Nitric oxide opens up the blood vessels, increases circulation to your brain, your heart, your lungs, your sex organs. I had a friend of mine call me the other day. I've known him since high school. And he said, I have no sex drive. Nothing. He says, models can lay naked in front of me. I have no sex drive at all anymore. What happened? He says, you're the nutrition expert. What happened? So I talked about supplementation to him. He does have high blood pressure. I got him on nitric oxide. There's other supplements you can take as well. Dr. Joe's Adrenal Support. Ashwagandha helps balance out the adrenal glands, which produce your sex hormones. So we have to look at what's going on in the body. And many times there's supplements, but a supplement is just that. It supplements a good diet. It's not instead of a good diet. It's in addition to a good diet. So if you don't know what to eat, go to my website, drjoe.com, drjoe.com, very simple, and type in the search bar 7 Deadly Sins of Nutrition. And there I did a lecture talking about the foods I want you to cut back. You don't have to cut them all out. I wish you would, but cut back. Second one I want you to type in is, so what can I eat? So what can I eat? And that talks about what a day in a life looks like. Breakfast, lunches, dinners, snacks, parties, packing lunches for kids, holidays. So, and by the way, the website has about 4,000 hours of content, and you can search it, and it's absolutely free. My website is my gift to you. So feel free to spend time on a website searching for things. You can type depression. I'm going to put this show in the search bar. And you can listen to these things and say, wow, that's fascinating. Now I get it. Nobody ever explained it to me like that before. Every time we do a show, that's my goal, to explain it like it's never been explained before. So drjoe.com, great source of information. If you have any health questions, send them to me through the website. I'm happy to answer your questions for you. A little bot pops up, says, hey, want to chat? Send me the question. I'll answer it for you. How easy is that? Okay, that's my service to you as well. And the supplements we talked about, the Super Greens, the Essential Source, the glutathione, the nitric oxide, the vitamin D, the B vitamins, and several others are on the website, drjoe.com, drjoe.com. They're in the store section. So I can't imagine any day of my life not taking supplements. I wake up first thing in the morning, go in the kitchen, have a little jar, pour a little coconut milk or almond milk in it, add Super Greens and Essential Source. I add 1 dropper full of vitamin D, shake it up and drink it. That's how I start every day of my life. Then I take my supplement protocol because I've created, I put together my issues and I put together supplements for that. Then I go ahead and have breakfast. I usually have some fruit. And then right around 10 o'clock when I get hungry, I usually have some nuts or a snack. Lunch is usually a salad. So it's not difficult. And it's so much cheaper than anything you're doing right now. You'll save money. You'll feel better. You'll probably live longer. You'll have a lot more energy. Your love life should improve. Your brain will work better. Hopefully pull you out today with talking about depression specifically, and watch what happens. Now, here's my challenge to you. You do everything I say, what to eat, what not to eat, supplements. Do what I say for 60 days. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. I blew it. But if I'm right, which I usually am, then you can say, okay, now I get it. Now, you're going to see changes in 2 or 3 days. It's not going to take 60 days to see changes. But I need to make this a habit. I need to change your brain. Now, the good news is, if you don't like it, go back to your old lifestyle. It's your choice to do whatever you want. But what downside is there to take my challenge? What to eat, what not to eat is free on the website. Just listen to it. Okay, record it if you want to. Put it in Otter and make a transcript if you need to. And then the supplements, of course, there's a cost for that, but that's a little risk, very low risk, very high reward. If I had these odds in Vegas, I'd be in Vegas every day. So there's no reason not to do these things. Why wouldn't you do it? The only problem is that bad food tastes good. And in fact, coming up in a couple of weeks, I'm going to do a show on ultra-processed foods and how it's killing you. These ultra-processed foods, the breads, cookies, cakes, donuts, pastas, packaged foods, omega-6 fatty acids. What this is doing to your body is destroying you. And I believe this is one of the major reasons we're seeing such a spike in depression. So it's not uncommon to see this. And I see it almost every day with my patients, especially the younger generation. So now this show is just giving you so many proactive tips you can do. So, and again, if you have any questions, just send to me through my website, drjoe.com. Other signs and symptoms of depression: insomnia or lack of sleep. Sometimes a person with depression is unable to sleep. They have trouble falling asleep or staying asleep. Their mind is racing. We can talk about that in a second. Can't concentrate, can't remember. You can have trouble making decisions. People with depression also find that they can't remember things as well as they did previously, and they may forget appointments and commitments and not recall things. If you find yourself slipping into that, I want you to get your calendar on your phone, on your computer, and write everything down. When I bring on a new executive in my offices, and I tell them, I said, we have to tell people to do something 11 times before they get it. Yeah, but I told Bob that I want him to call Josh, and he didn't do it. I understand that. We need to tell people 11 times to have it memorized. This is why when I tell people to listen to my shows, especially 7 Deadly Sins of Nutrition and So What Can I Eat, I say, I want you to listen to it 11 times. And they look at me like I'm crazy. I don't have that kind of time. Put it on your car, put it on the background. I don't care when you listen. But if you can hear something 11 times, you'll memorize it. And a simple thing is a song. How many times you heard a song? I love that song. Oh, I don't know the words. Oh, now I looked up the words. Oh, now I had to look them again. Then I look them up again. And eventually you know all the words. And you remember it forever. So we learn through repetition. And so that's why if you listen to my shows, sometimes I'll say the same thing 2 or 3 times in the same show because I know you didn't get it the first time. That's how your brain works. I know how your brain works. Maybe there's an exceptional few of you out there that get things on the first shot. I don't. I need to hear it over and over again. And so that's why listening to something over and over again is so important. And that's why on the website, you can listen to anything you want as often as you want. It's my gift to you, drjoe.com. Another issue I find is lack of appetite when people are depressed. They can start losing weight. They have little interest in eating. They go long periods of times without food. This is counterproductive because the body needs nutrition. That's why prolonged fasting, you really want to be careful with prolonged fasting. One of the things I do if somebody's on a fast, I make sure they take Dr. Joe's Super Greens and Dr. Joe's Essential Source every day. Because when you're fasting, if you're under 50 calories in a meal or whatever you're eating, you're probably okay. You're still in that fasting state. When you start going to 100, 200 calories, then you kind of come out of the fasting state. So if you're fasting, you want to do Super Greens and Essential Source with water, not with coconut milk, ramen milk, with water. And this way you get the nutrients that you need, allow the liver to start to detoxify, benefiting or exponentially working to get the liver to detox along with the fast. And that's the chlorella that's found in the Super Greens. And if you don't know what they are, folks, they're 2 powders. They taste great. They're on my website, drjoe.com. And I can't imagine any day without Super Greens and Essential Source. And once you start taking it, you're going to be like so many other people that say, how did I live without this stuff? This stuff is amazing. It's the concentrated nutrients that your body needs to start the day. Now, there's other nutrients I recommend as well, but that's the minimum. That's the starter kit. And they're on the website, drjoe.com. We ship the same day or the next business day, or you can come by and pick them up. In the Atlanta area, we have offices in Marietta, Duluth, Stockbridge, and West Cobb. And we'd love to be your doctors. But you can come by and pick them up and save shipping because shipping costs keep going up. Post office is getting messy. So, yeah, come by and say hi. We'd love to see you. And while you're there, why not make an appointment? Make an appointment to come see us and pick them up while you're there. If you want to make an appointment to come see us, if you have neck pain, back pain, shoulder pain, car accident injuries, sports injuries, knee pain, hip pain, shoulder pain, my team of doctors and I are really good at working on cases like that. So go to my website, drjoe.com. Normally the first visit is $940. For you, my listeners, I've reduced that to $299. That's an exam, x-rays, consultation, first treatment, going over the x-rays, and a complete nutrition evaluation. Now, if you can't come to us, we can do a remote consultation as well. We can do a Zoom call or whatever works best for you. And we can do nutrition and we can do a specific protocol for you. We can't treat you, of course, but we can do nutrition and recommendations. We can't do physical treatment. So drjoe.com, book your appointment. And if you're ever in a car accident, if the car is damaged, you're damaged. I've never seen it any other way. And I've treated thousands upon thousands of car accidents. I teach other doctors and lawyers and physical therapists for continuing education for their license renewals on car accident cases. We're really good at it. And if you're not near us, I have a network of doctors we work with. I can refer you to somebody else who's an expert in car accidents. Don't go to your average doctor for a car accident. It's a whole different animal. And we want to make sure you're getting the right treatment. And if you ever get a phone call after an accident, oh, this is such and such from your insurance company, from the hospital, from the police office, go see this doctor, go see this lawyer, it's a scam. It's one of the biggest scams going right now. It's a felony. Whoever calls you, they're committing a felony by calling you. So please don't fall for that. Again, you come see us. If you need a referral, let me know, and I'll try to find you somebody I think I can trust. So drjoe.com. But please don't answer those. They're called runners or ambulance chasers. Please don't answer their calls. Don't go to any other doctors or lawyers. It's a scam. So we continue on. I'm Dr. Joe Esposito, if you're just tuning in, and we're talking today about signs and symptoms of depression. And I see this, of course, as a pain management expert. Aches and pains, physical symptoms, headaches, digestive disorders, unexplained aches and pains. This is where chiropractic care comes in. Chiropractic care is the most effective, least expensive treatment when it comes to back pain. So why wouldn't you do that? Most effective, least expensive. And then if you need other treatment, we'll refer you to other doctors. I want to be the captain of your healthcare ship. I want to steer the ship and tell you which way to go. Because there's a lot of treatments out there you don't even know exist. Acoustic wave therapy. It's amazing for joints, hip joints, knee joints, foot, shoulder, elbow, wrist. Amazing. And people come in and say, Doc, I have bone on bone. Well, first of all, you can't have bone on bone in a degenerative joint. You wouldn't be able to move the joint. But it sends really fast impulses into the joint, breaks up scar tissue, increases circulation, recruits stem cells so the body can start to regenerate the tissue. Is it ever going to be like you were when you were 16? Absolutely not. But we've had so many patients, even post-surgical, after knee replacements, shoulder replacements, we do the acoustic wave therapy on it, and they start getting mobility back. And it's just like a miracle. And we do PRP. We can take your blood, spin it down, take out the platelets, which are growth factors, and re-inject it back into the joint. And that, along with the acoustic wave, can help regenerate new tissue. Again, you're not going to be, running like you were a kid, but what a great way to prevent and put off joint replacement. We've had many people that never need joint replaced after being treated with us. So we have that available. We have a whole protocol for erectile dysfunction for men. And it's acoustic wave therapy. It's home therapies. It's supplements like nitric oxide, checking the nerve supply to the area. Natural protocols for ED. No drugs, no surgery, no injections. And it gets to the cause of the problem, not just treat the symptom. So any of those things you want to make appointments for, just go to drjoe.com. When you make your appointment, say what you want to do, and we'll get that set up for you. But again, I want to be your doctor. I want to get you well and keep you well. Having just one of the symptoms of depression that we just talked about, okay, shutting off the brain, thoughts of harming yourself, feeling worthless, does not mean you have depression. For instance, other health issues and medication can cause weight gain. They can cause insomnia. They can cause lack of appetite. So one thing by itself isn't necessarily depression, but again, there's no single test that can diagnose depression. Usually a medical professional is going to evaluate a person's symptoms, their personal and family history, and make a diagnosis based on that. So depression, therapy, of course. I'm a huge fan of therapy, talk therapy, going to a psychologist or talk therapy. But you have to add the nervous system, the digestive system, your diet, supplementation. Are you breaking down foods properly? Otherwise, you're not going to get the results that you want. You just can't. It's impossible. Now, treatment can take time, and a person may not feel better right away. Antidepressants sometimes are necessary. I'm not against drugs. But again, my goal with drugs is short term. My goal is what can we do now to get me over this hump, along with the digestion, the neurological system, the nutrition, the dietary protocols. What can I do in addition to the medication, with the end game being come off the medication? I don't want you to be on forever drugs. Sometimes you need to be, but most times you don't. In fact, I just saw an article that broke my heart. These new drugs to make you lose weight, they block your brain so you don't get hungry. They were originally used for diabetes. I won't use their brand names. For children, pediatrician wrote an article that said, I feel that a child who's overweight should be on these medications forever. Forever. So many side effects from these meds. So again, I don't want you to not take the meds. I want to get to the cause of the problem so you don't need the meds. Now, some people with depression find that following measures can help. Of course, exercise is great. Spending time with friends, with loved ones, with support groups. Avoiding alcohol and illegal drugs, because alcohol really messes with your brain. Stress management techniques. Breaking significant tasks into smaller ones. Your house needs cleaning. I get it. You don't have to clean the whole house today. I'm going to clean one part of one bathroom today. That's it. So action steps are really important. If a friend or a loved one is showing signs of symptoms, you can talk to them. Ask them to talk to a doctor. Help them make the appointment. Offer support. Be there. Being there is everything. My mother used to tell me, just be. I remember raising my daughter as a single dad and going, this is really a challenge. And she said, just be. You don't have to take her somewhere. You don't have to entertain her constantly. Just be. That's all she wants. She wants you. That's all she really wants. And boy, what great advice that was. So just be is not bad advice, especially if you're helping somebody out. Continue to invite them to events, to outings. Hey, listen, let's go out for whatever their favorite food is. Let's go to the park. Hey, listen, I just found out this really cool store opened up. Will you come with me? I'd love for you to come with me. And so you can be their support group and help them come out of that depression. Reduce the stressors at their home if possible. You know what? I'm going to take the kids for the weekend. Go ahead. I'm going to babysit. You know what? I want to take your dog for a walk. I love walking dogs. Can I take your dog out? And even something little like that is going to be incredible. And help them with their nutritious meals. Help them with what to eat. Get them the supplements. And then spend time with them outdoors. Outdoors is so healing. In fact, if you can take their shoes off and walk in the grass, that's called grounding. It's amazing what grounding does. I'm running out of time. I won't go into grounding. I'll do it on another show. Anyway, folks, I'm Dr. Joe Esposito. Follow me on social media at Dr. Joe Esposito. Any questions you have, send them through my website, drjoe.com, drjoe.com. You can book appointments, come see me, virtual or in person. You can order supplements. If you're a podcast junkie, just type in Dr. Joe for the health of it in your podcast service. Folks, I'm Dr. Joe Esposito. Thanks for tuning in. I want to get you well and keep you well. All right. You have questions?
Do all edible fish have mercury? If so, which have the lowest levels?
All edible fish have mercury. I can't say all because I don't know that. I've never tested every fish, but I know they did a study in Australia, which is pretty remote. And they did a study in Australia, and they tested fish from, oceans and lakes, and every single fish had mercury in it. So the best fish would be the smallest fish, sardines, smelt, I think they're called, really tiny ones. The smaller they are, the less mercury they're going to have. The bigger they are, they've been around longer, they have more opportunity to absorb mercury. My feeling is stay away from fish. But if you're going to eat fish, the smaller the better. And wild caught, please.
Do any foods boost athletic performance?
Absolutely. Yeah. Nitric oxide, baby. Woo-hoo. We have so many athletes, professional, amateur. I cannot confirm or deny that Ryan Klesko is wanting to work with me now, who was on the Braves and won a championship, but I can't confirm or deny that. I can say he did invite me to a party up in Nashville next week, and I don't know if I can make it or not. So nitric oxide opens up the blood vessels. I take it before my workout. Now, my friend Tim is a mountain biker. He takes it after his workout because he doesn't get stiff afterwards. It increases circulation. So nitric oxide is amazing. B-complex is amazing. Super Green's an essential source is amazing. You don't need more protein. Everybody says, I need more protein. You don't need more protein. You need to digest the protein that you have. I am not a fan of whey protein. No way. I don't like animal proteins, dairy proteins. If you're going to do a protein, I'd say hemp or chia seed, hemp seeds, organic. You don't want it isolated. What says isolated soy protein, don't use that's isolated or hydrolyzed. That's not good. But you don't need more protein. You need to just eat a good diet and utilize the protein that you have, and that's why I would take a digestive enzyme as well, and that helps break down your protein. So Super Greens, essential source, nitric oxide, B-complex, and digestive enzymes. Yeah, that'll turn your world around. What else?
What can you say about the efficiency of plant protein versus animal protein?
Oh, it's the same. It's 20 amino acids. That's all we have. It doesn't matter if it's plant, if it's an animal, there's 20 amino acids in a human diet. And your body breaks it down and then reassembles it. So whether it comes from an animal or a plant, same thing. Now, the problem with the animal proteins, they're really hard to digest. And that's the key. So digesting plant protein is so much easier than digesting animal protein. So there's so many professional athletes now. I know the Tennessee Titans, half the team has gone vegetarian. Professional athletes, champion bodybuilders have gone to a plant-based diet and have seen an exponential increase in their performance. Way better than what they were doing beforehand. Even Arnold Schwarzenegger in his autobiography said the only animal protein, the only concentrated protein he ate when he was competing was tuna, and he realizes now he didn't need that either. So, yeah, plant protein is way more efficient than animal protein. It's better for you. It's easier to digest. No stress on the kidneys. Animal proteins, just big stress on the kidneys and the liver. Plant proteins, no. So plant proteins, way more efficient than animal proteins. So, what else?
That is all.
All right, guys, thank you so much. I do appreciate you. Any questions, send them through my website, drjoe.com.